Welcome back to Dry Hollow Homestead. This is Danielle, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to make a very basic homemade vanilla pudding. So if you have your own homestead, even if you don't, eggs and milk are the main ingredient in this, so we can use up a lot of the things that we have on our homestead in this extremely delicious dessert. So one of the differences between a custard and a pudding is how you thicken it. So a custard officially has like a secondary thickener. A pudding just has eggs, supposedly. But I have looked up so many different custards and pudding recipes and they're completely interchangeable. So you can call it a custard if you like the way that sounds better. So we're gonna get started. First, 3 ingredients we are going to put into our pot is flour, sugar, and salt. So it's actually 1 cup of flour. This is unbleached, organic, all-purpose flour. If you hear someone, I've got an audience. Yes, besides you two, I am entertaining my 4-month-old. So it's 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of sugar, and then it's salt. It's supposed to be about a ½ teaspoon. I just do that. That's really going to be fine. Give it a whisk. We're going to set this aside and we are going to mix egg yolks with milk. We're going to do 4 egg yolks. And these are beautiful eggs. I just have to show them off right. I don't know if I can do this with one hand, son. I think I'm going to have to find a spot for you. I'm going to separate 4 egg yolks out. Four egg yolks out. There's 1. Hi. 2. 3. And 4. I've even done as many as 6. It really does not make that much of a difference. It's kind of how much protein you want. Oh no! Okay, I have to go get that baby. So we're going to set our egg yolks aside. We can use them later if we want. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't for this custard, but definitely don't throw them out. Give your egg yolks a little whisk. You have been, Mommy? And then we're going to do 7 cups. Do I have 7? 6. 6 cups. Oh. We're going to pour 6 cups of milk in with our eggs. I'm going to do it. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. I have measuring thing on the side, and it is not accurate and precise, but it works. Go ahead and give your milk and your egg yolks a whisk. Now we are going to add our milk and egg yolks to our flour, salt, and sugar mixture. You can do a little bit at a time. You gonna hold it for me? And then we'll add it all together. We do not want to burn or scald this milk. We'll bring it up gradually to a boil. This is definitely what takes the longest in your pudding recipe. In addition, the only other ingredients we are going to use is some vanilla, and I put vanilla in no matter what I'm actually making, even if it's not vanilla pudding. If it's coconut pudding or coconut cream, I still put vanilla, or chocolate, I still put vanilla. I don't know what I wouldn't put vanilla in. It is a staple. And then butter, and you're going to need butter no matter what type of pudding you're making too. So this is homemade butter, obviously. Let me brag about that for a second. It is just not quite as bright because it's not summer butter. It is February here. So we've got a little bit of a paler butter, but it's still going to be great. And we're just going to keep stirring this. Now you do have an option of whipping your egg whites into a meringue to add on top. I'm okay with meringue, but I really enjoy whipped cream better, and I have a canister that whips it together with some CO2 charges. I'll show you that afterwards. I'm probably going to make whipped cream for on top of our custard or pudding instead of that. So we'll do something with it. We'll probably add it to eggs tomorrow morning, or we might even give it to the dogs and let them eat it with their dog food.
More to get and sing at football ones.
Okay, well, maybe stay away from him if he's acting smart. I did an experiment this past summer on line drying and how much that saves you, how much money that saves you on your electric bill. Well, my dryer finally went out completely, so now we are hanging clothes on the line when we have days like this where it is sunny and a little bit breezy in the 50s, and then we also are using a little drying rack and line drying in the house next to the wood stove. And I'm not sure I'm going to keep this up or if I'm going to just give in and let my husband go get a dryer. My husband is not on board with not buying a dryer. He is not trying to tell me that I shouldn't get a dryer. He wants me to, but I'm stubborn, and I would much rather spend that money on something more fun, more interesting, like a new ice cream maker, or, you know, I really want a new grain mill. So, stay tuned to see how long I actually keep that up. I think I actually said it backwards. A pudding usually has a separate thickening agent other than eggs, and a custard only uses eggs. But I have books, like I said, I have recipe books that have custard recipes that have way more than this. They even involve cornstarch and flour and gelatin. So call it what you want. I'm trying to think of a good way to make this convenient for my kids to make, because pudding from the store is so convenient in the little boxes, right? But they're so full of so many bad things. I don't even know if my kids have ever actually had that. But since we have such good high quality raw milk, it'd be awesome to have something that you can whip together really quickly. This is not really quick, but maybe I can put a mix together for them. I don't know. I'll have to come up with something. Can you say hi, Daniel? Say hi. I had to put the baby down because it's starting to get a little warm over here at the stove. So if you hear background noise, that's it. That's the background noise. Oh, and there's some more background noise over there. Hi, buddy. Do you know that you're distracting me? I am going to end up burning my custard. You're too cute. Oh, say hi. Oh. Oh. Oh my goodness, you're so noisy. Cooking it until it's thickened. We actually want it to boil. Once it gets to boil, we're gonna let it boil for at least a minute. We're not there, but we're getting close. If I wanted this to be a coconut cream, I would actually go ahead and add 1 cup of coconut flakes. And I'm kind of deciding whether I want to do that or not, but I don't think I will. I'll show you just the basic vanilla pudding this time, but I'm tempted. So I think it's been about a minute that it has been at a boil for about a minute. I'm going to go ahead and add butter. This is always, I've got it written down, you need a tablespoon, but honestly, do what your heart tells you. That's probably 2 tablespoons. I'm going to melt that, and then we're going to let it boil for 1 more minute before we turn off the heat and add vanilla. Okay, that is all we need to do for cooking. I'm going to add my vanilla now. I think I'm going to do about 2 tablespoons. This is also a little bit by heart for yourself. I think it's kind of funny when they're like 1 teaspoon. We're going to stir this in, and we want this to cool before we eat it. Look at that. Looks dreamy. We're going to let the pan cool a little and let my children lick the pot. So if you do not like pudding skin, you need to put saran wrap or something right over the top of this, or you will get skin, pudding skin. I don't love saran wrap, but I use it for this because I hate pudding skin. Some people like it, I don't. So I'm going to put saran wrap just across the top so I don't get a pudding skin on my pudding, and then I'm going to put this in the fridge just until it cools down. It'll be 2 or 3 hours before we're ready to eat this for dessert. So this is the same evening. I'm pulling that saran wrap off. I have no pudding skin, no rubbery surface to my pudding. I'm just going to spoon it up into bowls for my family. It was really loud, so I really didn't get to talk to you much. You couldn't hear me when I did talk. But I'm also going to show you another recipe. So it is another day and another pudding recipe. Last night my family ate all of that vanilla pudding, and I have none to show you this morning. I was going to show you how you can also whip up the whites and make a meringue with it and whip it in with your basic pudding. I don't usually do that. I've had that not go well for me, so I don't tend to do that. But now I'm going to go ahead and make a chocolate pudding. It's very similar to the vanilla. We're just going to add chocolate powder. A lot of people will also increase the sugar, but that is up to you. So I would start with a cup of sugar for this recipe on the basic vanilla, and if that seems like it's plenty of sugar, you want to back off. That's totally up to you, but that's a good place to start with. I have somebody that does not want me to set him down, even though he is extremely tired. But he will be with us for a little while we get this started. We are going to put 1 cup of flour and 1 cup of sugar. This is all-purpose, organic, unbleached from Costco. This is also raw, organic cane sugar from Costco also. You can use whatever you have. Same as the regular basic pudding, we are going to put about ½ a teaspoon of salt. I really love Redmond's real salt. I'll link that below. I get it off Amazon. And then cacao powder. I think that's how you say it. Organic, unsweetened. You can use cocoa powder if that's what you have. 1/3 of a cup for this recipe, for this amount. We're going to put that in there with our flour, our sugar, and our salt, and we're going to whisk it. And then we will get our eggs and milk. Now we are going to go ahead and do the same. 4 egg yolks and 6 cups of milk. I've actually got my milk in my half-gallon jar that has a marker, so it's already got 6 cups. In case you kind of feel bad about using only the yolks and not the whites, just keep in mind that most of the nutrition and fat in it is in your yolks. That is the best for you. So it's okay for the other to go to an animal or to not get used. 4 egg yolks. Now we're going to go ahead and fill up, get 6 cups of milk. Give that a mix. All right. It's as simple as that. Now I'm going to add my milk and eggs to my sugar flour combination here. We're going to give this a really good whisk and then put it on the stove just like the other and bring it to a boil. You really want to stir pretty consistently if you don't want it to burn and get cloddy or get some lumps in it. I've actually not had this recipe give me very many lumps, so I'm actually really happy with it. But whisk it together and get it on the stove on medium heat until it boils. You definitely want a heavy bottomed pot when you're doing this, a saucepan. If you don't have heavy bottom pots, that's what you really need in your kitchen. Don't even keep the aluminum very thin stuff for your cooking, because that's just going to set you up to fail. And when you have a bunch of failures, you're going to get discouraged and you're not going to want to stay in the kitchen. When you can cheaply get food from a store. So make sure you're investing in some good pots. This is actually one I got from Kat in France off Instagram. She and her husband, they find used thrift store copper pots in Paris, where they live, in Paris, France. And then her husband repairs them and then she sells them. So you can keep an eye out, but also my stainless steel Norpro pots are awesome too. And those are better priced, but definitely invest in good pots that you're going to use daily or very close to daily. Don't screw yourself up. Do not leave this. You really need to stay close to it. It is really starting to thicken up. I can already tell. It's looking quite good. You need to let it boil for 1 minute. And just like the other custard or vanilla pudding that we made, we're going to add vanilla and butter. The recipe I usually go by says to double the butter whenever you are making a chocolate pudding. So I will do that. I will also put just as much vanilla as I usually do, about probably 2 teaspoons maybe, I don't know, quite a bit. You can make chocolate pie with this. You can put it in an already baked pie shell, let it cool, and you have yourself, top it maybe with some whipped cream like I'm going to do, and you have yourself a chocolate pie. Also that basic vanilla, if you add the coconut flakes to that, you can have a coconut cream pie with cream on top. So just having this in your arsenal, it's so simple and quick, and it's not too healthy. I mean, not too unhealthy. You can control your ingredients and you can make a multitude of desserts just with this basic recipe. Another way that I like to make a pudding or custard is to make it caramel by first doing the butter that I would usually do at the end. So like a couple tablespoons of butter and brown sugar, and caramelize that before you do the flour. Cut your sugar in half a little bit, obviously, because you'd be using the brown sugar. But that is one of my favorites too, is the caramel pudding or custard. But it is very beautiful and dreamy and silky. If you do get some clumps in it, you can run it through a mixer, or you can blend it with a handheld mixer or an immersion blender. But honestly, this recipe does not clump for me as much as some of the other recipes I've tried in the past. This basic is so handy to have. When I have done the recipes that call for cornstarch and gelatin and things like that, that's when I get more of the clumping and it's just not as smooth. Go ahead and add my butter now. Obviously, we've got some homemade butter. I showed you that earlier anyway. I'm going to let that melt. Then we'll take it off the heat and add our vanilla. All right, I'm going to put this over here. I'm going to put some vanilla. I have homemade vanilla that I actually will use as soon as I'm done with this. So I think about 2 tablespoons is what I'm going to put in. Some nice coughing in the background. And give that a mix. I'm going to put it in another container. We are done. It's hot. But I'm going to pour it. And I'm also going to be watching to make sure that it is nice and smooth. It looks wonderful. This is going to go to my kids. Once it cools, they will be able to lick the pot. I am going to saran wrap it, put it in the fridge, and then when we are ready to eat, I will make some whipped cream. Here is the glamour shot with the steam coming up off this. Ooh, ah, beautiful. So the kids are giving it a taste test.
Good.
You alright? I did good, right?
Yep.
So kid approved. Time to eat our chocolate pudding. I'm going to go ahead and make some whipped cream. I'm going to link one of these dispensers down below, but I skim the cream off of my milk, and then you can fill it up halfway with this cream. This is raw cream from my cow. I'm going to put a little splash of vanilla and maybe 2 teaspoons of powdered sugar right in that canister. It's that easy. And I'm going to screw the lid on and then give it a charge. Ouch. So you take your CO2 charge like this and you screw it in. Give it a shake. I'm going to actually put my end on. You have to have something for it to squirt out of. It is important if you are using something like this to dispense whipped cream that you hold it upside down. You can't just put it to the side. It's got to be upside down. Okay. Chocolate pudding. I'm going to call in the troops they're going to eat. Oh no.